The infection is neurocysticercosis, which is caused by the parasite Taenia solium. It's a tapeworm identified as the cause of this disease in the southwestern United States. It is especially rampant in the growing colonias, new neighborhoods, stretching from Brownsville, Texas, along the Mexican border, all the way to San Diego, California. The poorest illegal aliens set up shanty towns on the U.S. side of the border. They feature no sanitation of any kind, no toilets, no showers, no clean water. Disease proliferates unchecked. In 1985, 185,000 Mexican and South Americans inhabited those shanty towns. By 1995, they numbered 500,000. By 2000, according to the New York Times, they totaled 1 million. At the current rate of growth, they will grow to 20 million in the next 16 years. As they expand and move into the United States, they could carry many of the diseases, including this parasite. The New York Times reported, quote, "Colonias are rusted trailers and shacks nailed together from tar paper and packing pallets without toilets, mounds of trash attracting multitudes of rats. The lack of sanitation has polluted the underground water to the point that many residents are literally drinking their own waste," unquote. The Times considers colonias are chaotic, contaminated, explosive, fecal, filthy, illegal, putrid, powder kegs, shocking slums, stench, unsanitary, and wrenching, unquote. As one who has visited the colonias in El Paso last year and filmed them, I can tell you the New York Times reporter could not adequately describe the kind of horrible, pathetic, disease-ridden misery I witnessed. It is so grossly offensive, you want to vomit not only physically but also emotionally. This is another aspect of third world momentum stampeding into our country at 10,000 a day. It is happening because most Americans think they're safe, think their congressmen and senators are protecting them. They would be deadly incorrect. The tapeworm had previously been eradicated in U.S. pork via animal husbandry techniques. However, it's rampant in the third world. Since that world is immigrating into America at an unprecedented rate of speed, the parasite is moving along with them and passed among people, especially children. End of quote. Restaurants across this country, those are the end of the quotes from Frosty. Restaurants across this country employ third world illegals as well as hotels. On April 14, 2005, Frosty again wrote, according to Newsweek, March 28, 2005, over 10,000 MS-13 gang members illegally crossed our borders looking for a better life, too. Now they're operating in 33 states. The most dangerous gang in America illustrates how illegal aliens crossing our borders looking for a better life while they make ours a living nightmare. While playing soccer, a 12-year-old kid is shot dead by MS-13 members in Reno, Nevada. In Somerville, Massachusetts, 2 gang members raped 2 teen girls in Foss Park. Both are deaf, one is in a wheelchair. In Fairfax, Virginia, in May of 2004, MS-13 gang members give chase to a 16-year-old and hacked him up with machetes. The victim suffered loss of 4 fingers. A man named Elbert Rivera is arrested February 10, 2005 in Falfurrias, Texas. His crime? Rivera led 6 gunmen who opened fire on a bus in Honduras, killing 28 people. In Long Island, New York, police find gang members shot in the head and stabbed to death. Machetes on Main Street, America, are the theme of Mara Salvatrucha MS-13 gangs now operating in dozens of U.S. cities. We're not talking Disneyland. Mara means posse and Salvatruchas means street tough Salvadorans. The number 13 is a gang number associated with Southern California. They kill cops, distribute drugs like candy machines, extort businesses, and concoct drive-by killings as standard operating procedure. You're not dealing with the Boy Scouts or bums. You're dealing with true assassins and rapists. Oscar Bonilla, director of the National Council for Public Security, said this gang is highly organized and disciplined with vertical commands. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't President Bush supposed to protect Americans from enemies, both foreign and domestic? Didn't he swear to uphold the Constitution, specifically Article 4, Section 4? Would 10,000 armed and deadly alien nationals constitute a domestic enemy from a foreign land? They come here for a better life, Bush repeats. They do the work Americans won't do. That work includes murdering and spreading drugs from California to Maine. It means raping unsuspecting and unprotected women from coast to coast. It means 10,000 gang members put any of us at risk at any moment. It means the aforementioned reports may have our names on a future newspaper article when the gang jumps from 10,000 to 20,000 members. With Bush's wide-open borders, when does the gang recruitment stop? Flush with new recruits from Central America, MS-13 members set up cliques in remote places like Boise, Idaho, and Omaha, Nebraska, unquote, according to Newsweek. This is the end of the quote from that part of Frosty's column. You think this won't come to your neighborhood? You are dead wrong. Gang violence led by illegals is growing like an unchecked cancer. On May 16, 2005, Frosty wrote in a column titled America's Death by 1,000 Cuts. Let me give you a few quotes. For more bleeding, over 20 million illegals siphon off $68 billion annually out of your taxpayer pocket as they use our schools, welfare, medical care, and services. Folks, they're not just picking lettuce anymore. They're taking jobs away from Americans. Harvard's Professor Borjas of economics showed that illegal aliens displace American workers out of $200 billion in lost wages annually. We're not talking about a financial nosebleed. We're talking slashed arteries. Home foreclosures and personal bankruptcy stand at an all-time high for American citizens. How about the $80 billion annual price for the ongoing $30 billion drug war that has solved nothing? What about the price of a home today that has doubled in 20 years? How about the $128 billion in cash leaving the USA annually to pay for the drugs coming across the Mexican border? How about the $81 billion just appropriated for the Iraq War? In the meantime, this Congress and President promote outsourcing, insourcing, and offshoring of millions of jobs out of America in a bloodbath that is cutting the middle class a new jugular vein. America's working poor can't find a job at a living wage, so what happens? They stand in welfare lines and beg for food stamps. Feel the bloody laceration? Additionally, illegal aliens send over $56 billion back to their home countries. In other words, they are slashing and slicing the golden goose. Over $15 billion bleeds to Mexico, $25 billion to South America, and $16 billion to Asia. How does that make you feel when you fill out your annual income tax form? That is, if you still have a job left that pays a living wage. Last year, America suffered a $230 billion trade deficit with China. Right now, China is licking its chops as they sell us billions in goods but buy nothing from us in return. Why? Because we've lost our manufacturing base, which means we have nothing to sell. In fact, China aims to surpass Japan in total manufacturing output by 2015. By that time, the United States won't have anything to sell anyone in the world. How long do we keep spending money we don't have? Where does that leave you and me? How about boiling to death in a cauldron that is melting down our ability to function as a society? We're adding such insane debt we can't pay it off. Where does that leave us? We're on the edge of a financial cliff with no safety net. We're playing with fire that will burn us to death. Our middle class is headed for poverty class. Our working poor are headed for welfare lines while illegals do the jobs that all Americans would work for a living wage but can't because illegal aliens depress wages and steal jobs. What happens when another 20 million breach our borders, take more of our jobs, provide us with more gang members that rape and steal? That's the end of Frosty's comments. But I can tell you that I have personally, for my investigative journalism work, interviewed families, American families who've farmed and ranched the land in the United States, down near the border in California. Their family's been there for more than 100 years. Do you know that the mother, the woman of the house, she can't go to the mailbox to check the mail without wearing a gun because their house has been broken into so many times by these criminals smuggling themselves across the border? How would you like to have to carry a gun to check your mailbox?